Hey everybody, Guru Dan here. I just wanted to share with you some exercises that we do that I find are just fantastic in general. So I think every FMA person should be doing these, to tell you the truth. The benefits far outweigh anything else. When I first got introduced to it, it's probably like most people, when I thought twirling, well, twirling is great, it looks kind of fancy and everything, but I don't know if it's very practical. Until somebody that was a little bit smarter than me came along and kind of showed me the practicality of it. Fantastic drill, actually, and it has a lot of benefits that can apply to reality, and I'll show that to you here at the end of the video. When I first start doing it, I think about just using one stick because it's the easiest, and most people are right-handed. People aren't used to doing the left-handed yet, so we'll introduce that a little bit today too. First thing you want to do when you think about twirling is don't open your hand like this, right? Because then you've wasted the whole practicality of the drill. If you think about most sports, whether it's FMA, boxing, football, whatever, we should have some kind of mobility drill, something that helps us to be able to use it in real life scenarios. So I want to try to, when I think about twirling, I want to keep for the most part my hand closed. It's okay to open it a little bit, but I really don't want my hand opening like this. That defeats the purpose of the drill or the exercise. What I'm going to do first is I want to start high. And I'm going to do is let that tip drop down and come down. I'm going to make full range of motions at first so I can get my shoulder and everything nice and warmed up. But eventually I'll start dropping the stick right here in front of me. So then it gets me ready to do other things, right? I'm used to that. So I want here, and then here first. If you can't do anything but just drop it, that's fine. And then work on bringing it up. Drop it and then bring it up. Even get it one, maybe two twirls coming up. Get used to one, and then I go get used to, okay, if I can do one side, can I do the other side? So I switch and do the other side. Again, just one hand, nice and easy. If I can get used to doing two twirls, maybe I'll do two twirls at a time. Important thing is don't sit here in one spot and twirl and don't open your hand. Make sure you're using something practical, because these motions are very similar to doublettes, right? Very similar to doublettes. And again, they have other applications. Once I get used to one hand doing it, maybe I'll go to the shoulder and come back. Maybe if I get used to the shoulder and come back, I'll use the other hand, I'll go to the shoulder and back. Shoulder and back. If I get used to that, maybe I'll go, okay, I can shoulder, why can't I just go over the head? So now I'll go over the head when I do it. So same thing on this side, I go over the head. A good way to switch is just to come here. So all I did there is your typical nunchuck move, right? Everybody does that. They come underneath and then they switch. This is another good drill because it gets used to, if your hand gets put in an awkward position, how to apply, right? How to get out of it. So again, I come here. Once I get used to that, maybe I'm starting to think, okay, what can I do? Two sticks. So I'll go, okay, first maybe I'll just do both at the same time, going down, both going up, because it's simpler. I don't have to think about left brain, right brain, and separating my head a little bit, right? Once I get comfortable with that, maybe I go, okay, one goes down, one goes up. The best way at first to get used to that is to go, okay, this one, once it's twirled and comes down, I kind of don't have to forget about it. I can forget about it, rather. I don't have to think about it anymore because it's going down, right? Gravity's doing its work. So when that starts happening, I go, okay, maybe I'll go up. Once this one goes down, maybe I'll go up. This one goes down, maybe I'll go up again. So first, it's okay if I have to do both at the same time. But eventually, I want to get to the point where I can do up and down at the same time. I can go to one shoulder and go to the other shoulder. I can go over the head, I can go over the head. And then you start getting a little fancy. You can go out. You can go out with this, right? Or I could do both at the same time and go out here. So the main idea is I want to kind of play with it. And again, once I get comfortable with that, I'll start showing the applications in real life for this in just a few minutes. Thanks. So in the last part of the video, we talked about the different twirlings that you can do with both hands, one hand. So now let's talk about how you can make these things applicable. So when we're talking basic strikes, the twirling is going to help me with abanicos. It's going to help me with the doublettes. It's going to even help me with the dobladas. It's going to help me with six because it's helping me to build some of that flexibility in the shoulder and the wrist. But really what we're talking about is how can I use it in practicality. So like I said before, you have the doublettes. Let's say if we're just playing and we're playing puños or whatever, he's lifting, he's doing whatever, there's puños. I can come here and there's my switch, right? So if you think about it, that's my twirl. Does that make sense when I was twirling? There's an example of how I could use it. Let's say, for instance, he goes and he catches number one. He does a snake for me. Let's get it on that side for a second. He catches number one. He tries the snake. There's my twirl coming out, right? So my natural reaction is just here. If I get caught, I'll just switch hands. So in Komotan, it's very important to have left hand and right hand together. So same token, because I'm used to switching everything, and I'm keeping all that in mind when I'm playing, is that if he does a vine on this backhand here for a second, go slow. There you go. So I'm used to switching already, right? Because what happens is as he does that vine, I just see this right in front of me, and I'm so used to just grabbing it because I'm used to doing these kind of things with my hands, right? It's the same idea if he tries to take my stick and does something stupid like this, right? So, I mean, all these little stupid, silly things, if I get my stuck later, I'm used to that, just pulling out because I got used to this. So anytime I'm playing, we'll just play for a second here. Anytime I'm doing it and he catches me or whatever, he moves my hand or whatever, just do whatever. Like, there you go, that's it right here. So there's my natural reactions, right? And I'm just playing, there's my twirls through there's my hits through here, here's my other hits. Anytime he tries to do a disarm, there you go, there's a disarm there. If he's trying to do a different type of disarm, just do whatever. He's doing that one, there's my release there, because again, that's very similar to that, right? So I don't have to think a whole lot about it. My body's kind of used to all these different twirls as I do it. So that's kind of how I'm using it. And I'm used to my left and right hand. So when I play, we pass, I'm used to switching left and right constantly. So I can switch on this anytime I want. Does that make sense? I can do that one. I can just switch all the time, I can switch all the time when I'm doing stuff. And it just gives me all these different options that I can do when I'm playing, if that makes sense. So that's again, it's a mobility drill or mobility exercise you're doing with your hands. And it's just a way to get used to switching your hands, a way to get your hands flexible when you're twirling. So it's a great drill, so I highly recommend it. Thanks, guys.